which is when, where and how. We have already seen about sources of history. Under this, we have buildings or monuments, coins, biographies and autobiographies, travelogues, paintings and artifacts in part 2. Students, can you guess what these images are? I hope you will be able to get it by the end of the lesson. Synopsis of the lesson. In this session, we are going to see the following topics. The first one is problems faced by historians. Under this, we have quality of source, interpretation of source. The second one is highlights of the medieval period in India. Under this, we have growth of settlements, development of travel and trade, social changes, religious changes, political developments and cultural developments. Now we are going to see the first topic, that is problems faced by historians. First, we have to know who is a historian. A historian is a person who studies and writes about the past. Quality of source. In the past, records were maintained for their immediate use and not for people to interpret after thousands of years. Here, interpret means explain the meaning of information or actions. So, in the past, records were maintained for their immediate use only and not for people to explain the meaning of information or actions after thousands of years. The following aspects also affected the quality of source. Here, aspects means characteristics. So, the following characteristics also affected the quality of source. The first one is there were no printing machines. The second one is no common languages existed. The third one is the material used for inscriptions were derived from stones, metals, parchments, barks and paper. Here, parchment means a flat, thin material made from the prepared skin of an animal, usually a sheep or goat, and used as a durable writing surface in ancient and medieval times. The next characteristic is, with time, they have eroded in quality and faded in color. Here, eroded means destroyed, faded means dim. So, with time, they have destroyed in quality and dim in color. The next one is, as copying was not with the help of carbon papers or reprints, there are variations in the versions available at different places. Next, we are going to learn about interpretation of source. It is an extremely difficult task to understand a script which is not currently in use. Here, script means written text. Even more difficult is to understand words and phrases which are not in use in modern languages. Here, a phrase is one or more words that form a meaningful grammatical unit. As all the writings were manuscripts, that is handwritten, it is something like reading from your friend's notebook who has a poor handwriting. Here you can see the picture of manuscript. There are discrepancies in understanding and interpretations of things which were written in those times. Here, discrepancy means difference or variation. Interpretation means explanation. So, there are differences in understanding and explanations of things which were written in those times. Now, let's see some hard words. Historian, historical. A historian is a person who studies and writes about the past. Historical means belonging to the past. So, historians find differences in copies and different versions which give out conflicting information. Therefore, it is not easy to reconstruct. Here, reconstruct means recreate historical happenings. There were no calendars, clocks, or dates, and timings are vague. Here, vague means unclear. The places and their identity are not clear, as the maps were poor and not accurate. It is due to these variations in understanding that historians have to be very meticulous. Here, meticulous means careful in understanding. Interpreting means explaining, and reconstructing means recreating things of the past for our understanding. Now, we are going to learn about highlights of the medieval period in India. Let us now see the general outline about the historical trends of the medieval period. Here, trends means change or development. Medieval period means Middle Age. So, let us now see the general outline about the historical developments of the medieval period. We shall see the detailed and specific aspects in the early and later medieval periods in subsequent chapters. Here, subsequent means following chapters. Aspects means characteristics. Let's see about growth of settlements. Here, settlement means the state of being settled. The settlements grew in size as population grew in numbers. Trends changed, technology started growing, and people started traveling around in search of food and shelter. These caused cutting down of jungles and growth in agriculture. Let's see some hard words. Tribal, tradition, culture. Tribal means members of tribal communities, especially in South Asia. Tradition means a long established custom or belief that has been passed on from one generation to another. Culture means the ideas, customs, and social behavior of a particular people or society. Many tribals also started mixing with the settled people in towns and villages. Here, tribals are members of tribal communities, especially in South Asia. This helped the mix of traditions and cultures. Here, tradition means a long established custom or belief that has been passed on from one generation to another. Culture means the ideas, customs, and social behavior of a particular people or society. Then, people from different settlements in different regions means areas, traveled to other regions, saw different cultures, saw different crops, and learnt new methods. These led to technological advancements and trade between settlements also developed. Let's see some hard words. Travel, trade, explore. Travel means make a journey, typically of some length. Trade means the action of buying and selling goods and services. Explore means travel through an unfamiliar area in order to learn about it. Now let's see about development of travel and trade. First we have to know what is meant by travel. Travel means make a journey, typically of some length. Trade means the action of buying and selling goods and services. Gradually, people started traveling to more distant means far away places, and travelers from Persia, Arabia, China and other distant foreign lands started visiting this region. Here region means area, to explore and understand the people. Here explore means travel through an unfamiliar area in order to learn about it. Now let's see some hard words. Voyage, far-flung. Voyage means a long journey involving travel by sea or in space. Far-flung used to refer to places that are a great distance away. These voyages and travels helped to develop trade and exchange of items from different regions of far-flung areas. Here, voyage means a long journey involving travel by sea or in space. Then, far-flung used to refer to places that are a great distance away. The message of the levels of prosperity. Here, prosperity means wealth. In this region, traveled wide and trade increased. Now, let's see some key terms. Social change. Social change. Social means relating to society or its organization. The word change denotes a difference in anything observed over some period of time. In other words, change means variations from previous state. So, social change means observable differences in any social phenomena. Here, phenomena means fact or happening over any period of time. In other words, social changes mean change in the social structure or function of societal forms. Discrimination, class discrimination. Discrimination is when a person is treated unfairly or badly because the person is one of a particular group. Class discrimination is also known as classism, is prejudice or discrimination on the basis of social class. It includes individual attitudes, behaviors, systems of policies and practices that are set up to benefit the upper class at the expense of the lower class. Prejudice, expense. Prejudice means an unfair and unreasonable opinion or feeling, especially when formed without enough thought or knowledge. Expense means cost. Now let's see some hard words. Rituals, superstition, caste. Rituals means the prescribed procedure for conducting religious ceremonies. Examples like worship such as mass, funerals, etc. Superstition means belief that is not based on human reason or scientific knowledge but is connected with old ideas about magic, etc. Example, if a black cat crosses your path, you will have bad luck. Caste is the system of dividing people in a society into different social classes. In other words, a division of society based upon differences of wealth, rank or occupation. Now we are going to learn about social changes. Social change means observable differences in any social phenomena. Phenomena means fact or happening over any period of time. In other words, social change is meant change in the social structure or function of societal forms. In the society, the divisions were increasing. The class discrimination, also known as Jati Pratha, which means caste system, the complex rituals and superstition grew. Here, class discrimination, also known as classism, is prejudice or discrimination on the basis of social class. It includes individual attitudes, behaviors, systems of policies and practices that were set up to uplift the upper class at the expense of the lower class. Rituals means the prescribed procedure for conducting religious ceremonies. Examples like worship such as mass, funerals, etc. Superstition means belief that is not based on human reason or scientific knowledge but is connected with old ideas about magic, etc. Example, if a black cat crosses your path, you will have bad luck. The society started adding subcaste to the already divided caste. Here, caste is the system of dividing people in a society into different social classes. In other words, a division of society based upon differences of wealth, rank or occupation. Now we are going to learn about Panchayat. Gram Panchayat is the organization of elected panchas by the members of Gram Sabha of the village. Here, panchas are the 5 members who together form the Panchayat. These are respected elders chosen by the local community. They are the governing bodies. Panchayat means a former group of 5 influential older men acknowledged by the community as its governing body. Every village and town has their own peculiar problems. It is difficult to find solutions for them unless they meet and discuss them and bring their decision into force. This work is called Gram Panchayat. In order to make the life of a village happy, people belonging to that place should take part in its activities. The subclasses are jatis, varied in position and power from place to place. Each one had its own rules and regulations for its members, and gradually the people got divided into sections. Each jati had their heads or panchayat heads. Now let's see some hard words. Religion, religious, intermediary. Religion means the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods. Religious means relating to or believing in a religion. Intermediary. An intermediary is a person who passes messages or proposals between two people or groups. Now we are going to learn about religious changes. Here, religious means relating to or believing in a religion. Religion started gaining importance, and this led to construction of many temples. Here, religion means the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or goddesses. Brahmins started gaining importance as they were considered as the intermediaries between God and humans. Here, an intermediary is a person who passes messages or proposals between two people or groups. Now let's see some hard words. Wisdom, deity. Wisdom means the ability to use your knowledge and experience to make good decisions and judgments. Deity means a god or goddesses. They started gaining control over society as they were the ones who had knowledge and wisdom and were in great demand. Here, wisdom means the ability to use your knowledge and experience to make good decisions and judgments. New deities came to be worshipped. Here, deity means a god or goddesses. Now let's see some hard words. Cultural, foothold. Cultural means relating to the ideas, customs and social behavior of a society. Foothold is a strong or favorable position from which further advances or progress may be made. Gradually, the trade and travelers from the Arab world brought cultural changes with them. Here, gradually means step by step. Cultural means relating to the ideas, customs and social behavior of a society. Islam found a foothold and believers of Islam also settled in the Indian region. Here, foothold is a strong or favorable position from which further advances or progress may be made. Later, the Mughals came into India and started ruling, which brought in more cultural changes. So, the mix of religions has both advantages and disadvantages. While people can learn from each other, they also can get divided by religious leanings. Leanings means a tendency to have positive feelings or attitudes about beliefs or opinion of a particular kind. This is what happened in the society, and the society started getting divided on religious lines. Now we are going to learn about political developments. Here political means relating to the government or public affairs of a country. Here affairs means events. The period we are studying extended over nearly 1,000 years. Here extended means made larger. So the period we are studying made larger over nearly 1,000 years. The changes in society were gradual and definite. Here gradual means little by little. Definite means clearly stated. So the changes in society were gradual and definite. A group of people who emerged, here emerged means appeared as leaders, were the Rajputs. Now we are going to see some hard words. Hereditary, trait, valor, predominantly. Hereditary means of characteristics, titles and positions in society passed from parent to a child. Trait means characteristic or quality. Valor means great courage in the face of danger, especially in battle. Predominantly means mainly or mostly. The name basically was derived from the word Rajputra, meaning the son of a ruler. As they were considered to be the protectors of society, they were expected to have the hereditary traits of bravery and sense of loyalty. Let me explain this point. As they were considered to be the protectors of society, they were expected to have the hereditary traits of bravery. Here hereditary means of characteristics, titles and positions in society passed from parent to a child. Trait means characteristic or quality. Bravery means courage. So they were expected to have the hereditary traits of bravery and sense of loyalty. Here loyalty means faithfulness. Then they developed a reputation of valor and as brave warriors. Here reputation means respect or admiration. So they developed respect of valor. Here valor means great courage in the face of danger, especially in battle. And as brave warriors. This section of society was settled predominantly in the northern regions of the country. Here predominantly means mainly or mostly. So this section of society was settled mostly in the northern regions of the country. In other parts of the country, the Marathas, the Sikhs and Jats also became politically important. They were considered as martial races who are brave warriors. Here, martial race was a designation created by army officials of British India. Here, martial means relating to fighting or war. In other words, military. So they were considered as martial races who are brave warriors. In the south, Cholas, Gurjaras, Pratikaras, Palas and Rashtrakutas gained importance. From the 12th century onwards, the Turks, Afghans and Mughals came from outside and made India their home. They invaded smaller kingdoms and ruled over some of them. Here invaded means captured. So they captured smaller kingdoms and ruled over some of them. Their armies came along. Such settlers changed the social and political structure of the country to a large extent. Now we are going to learn about cultural developments. Here cultural means relating to the ideas, customs and social behavior of a society. The mix of people from various parts of the world, their religions and traditions had an effect on the cultural scene as well. There were a major influence, here influence means effect, on the pattern of food and clothing, the consumption of meat, spices increased manifold. Here manifold means many or multiple. The cloths saw a change from use of cottons to silks and the use of embroideries. Here we can see embroidery pictures. The royal class promoted their interest in various forms of entertainment, and thus the society saw many changes. The various forms of dance and music changed and grew. Newer forms like Kathak. Kathak is one of the 7 major forms of Indian classical dance. Gwalis got introduced. Here Gwalis means devotional music. It is a form of Sufi Islamic devotional singing which now includes musical instrument use originating from the Indian subcontinent and notably popular in the Punjab and Sindh regions of Pakistan, in Hyderabad, Delhi. In other words, Gwali is a form of devotional music that expresses the mythical Sufi practice of Islam in South Asia, mainly in areas of Afghanistan, Pakistan and India. The term Gwali comes from the Arabic word gwal, meaning to speak or to say, thus emphasizing the importance of words of these songs. The architecture of buildings also saw a change. Color, use of stones, designs and material of construction saw major changes during this era. Languages like Urdu and Persian grew in popularity. Here architecture means the art or practice of designing and constructing buildings. The medieval period, which means Middle Age, saw large scale changes in the Indian subcontinent. The growth was phenomenal, which means extraordinary. These also lured, which means attracted, the European travelers towards this part of the world for trade. All these took place at the end of the 17th century. However, you would be studying about the same in the next class. Now, I hope you all found what these pictures are. In the first picture, we can see manuscripts. In the second picture, we can see Gwalis. It is a devotional music. In the third picture, we can see Kathak dance form. In the fourth and fifth pictures, we can see embroideries. And in the sixth picture, we can see Panchayat. I have enclosed the classbook instructions in the PDF. Kindly refer it. So now, we have reached the end of this session. Thank you.